Hello again. You now know that my name is Lubna Abdالتواب Yusuf, and I'm teaching you the writing course. And as I told you in the 3 lectures that I gave earlier, that I believe that you cannot write without reading. And today I will show you that we are going to discuss Akhenaten and Nefertiti. Akhenaton و Nefertiti. And these are 2 names that are very famous in Egyptian history. But if I ask you to write about them, can you write about them without reading about who Akhenaten was, what did he do, what did he believe in, who Nefertiti was, when did they get married, is Tutankhamun their son or not? Many questions that you will not be able to answer. I will not be able to answer them myself if I do not read about Akhenaten and Nefertiti. Now, the table of contents will show you that Naguib Mahfouz wrote a wonderful novel on Akhenaten, and it's called Al-Aish fil Haqiqa. And the title in English is called Living in the Light of the Truth. So we're going to see how did Naguib Mahfouz write about Akhenaten. Now, as for Nefertiti, we're going to read a passage about her, and we're going to ask critical thinking questions. These are questions that can come to you in the exam, all right? So this is good training for you. And I'm going to show you that any one of these questions can be answered in more ways than one, and these different ways can be correct. Now, the following slide is about Naguib Mahfouz and his novel, الرواية بتاعته العائش في الحقيقة. And from the novel, we find out that Akhenaten is the son of Amun-Hotep III, and so he became Amun-Hotep IV. He ruled Egypt in 1336 until 1336. This is when he died. He ruled Egypt for 17 years. Now, what is the most important piece of information about Akhenaton? It is he was not a warrior. What's a warrior? Meaning a fighter, a soldier, all right? He did not want to go to battle. He was a peaceful king, all right? Unlike the kings before him and after him. Now, the other most important piece of information about Akhenaten is he is the first monotheist in ancient Egypt. Mono means one. Theist means God. He believed in the one God. But the kings before Akhenaten in ancient Egypt were polytheists. They believed in polytheism, meaning that there are many gods. Now, Akhenaten believed in the one God, and he changed his name from Amun-Hotep to Akhenaten because he believed in the Aten, and the Aten is the symbol of the sun, all right? And this is his story in Naguib Mahfouz. Now, before we move on to the story, Naguib Mahfouz, as we all know, is a famous Egyptian writer. He was born in Gamaleya. He was born in 1911 and he died in 2006, meaning he lived a long life. Now, he went to the Kutab and he studied the Quran, and he went after that to Egyptian schools, and he studied at Cairo University, where you are studying, all right? He studied in the philosophy department. اتخرج من قسم فلسفة سنة 1934. عشان كده كلية الآداب جامعة القاهرة فخورة جدا إنه نجيب محفوظ أحد أبنائها. Now, what did he witness in the history of Egypt? He witnessed British colonialism, الاستعمار البريطاني. He witnessed سعد زغلول ومصطفى كامل. He witnessed all the long struggle against the British people. Now, he wrote about all this in his novels, and his novels had a great effect not only on Egyptian life and culture, but on Arab life and culture. All right, so he affected Arabic literature, he enriched the Arabic language, because his novels were turned into films, he enriched the Egyptian cinema, and he created a true image of Egypt to the world. مين منا ما يعرفش السيد وأمينة. So he dealt with Egyptian characters and Egyptian events to show the Egyptian people that if the Egyptian man behaves like Sayyid, and if he controls his wife like Sayyid did with Amina, this is not good for the Egyptian life, the Egyptian society, the Egyptian children, etc. All right? So Naguib Mahfouz had 3 stages of writing, all right? His first stage focused on ancient Egypt, all right? So he wrote about Radupis, he wrote about Ra, he wrote about Thebes at war, and he wrote Al-Aish fil Haqiqa, living in the light of the truth about Akhenaten. Now, Naguib Mahfouz also wrote realistic fiction. So he wrote Khan al-Khalili, he wrote Zu'a al-Mada'. Now, his third stage, which is his mature stage, all right, his best stage, he wrote the Cairo trilogy, Palace Walk, Palace of Desire, and Sugar Street, all right? These are 3 novels in 1,500 pages, and they tell us about Abdeltawab and his family and his children, and he also introduces World War I and World War II to introduce the effect of these world wars on the Egyptian life and the Egyptian people. Now, Naguib Mahfouz dealt with colonialism, al-istamar. He dealt with political problems. He also dealt with heroic figures like Saad Zaghloul, Mustafa Nahas, Mustafa Kamel. And he also focused on the middle class in Egypt, all right? And he lived through the rule of Gamal Abdel Nasser and the revolution, Anwar al-Sadat, and Hosni Mubarak. Now, in 1994, there was an attempt to kill him, but he was saved and he passed away in 2006. Now, the man living in the light of the truth about Akhenaten is a very important novel. I actually wrote a paper about it, And I want you to know that a lot of writers wrote about Akhenaten. One of them is called Alan Drury, all right? And the title of his novel is called A God Against Gods. Now, remember the ancient Egyptian kings were regarded as gods, Eleha, all right? And therefore, he wrote about Akhenaten that he was a god fighting against the other gods because of the different belief he had. And Alan Drury has a very important quotation in his novel that I like very much. And the quotation said, they always said they would live forever. So the ancient Egyptians said that they're going to live forever. Now, it's true, they physically died, but their monuments still survive. And we still talk about Akhenaten, Nefertiti, Tutankhamun, and all the other Egyptian kings, all right? So Alan Drury said, they always said they would live forever. And as forever goes in the lives of men, they have. This means that the Egyptians said they would live forever, and they did continue to live forever because they are still famous until now, and their monuments, the pyramids, and their mummies are still well known until today. Now, the title of the novel, العائش في الحقيقة. What is الحقيقة? You know that I stress the value of definition. What is الحقيقة? Now, الحقيقة means to confirm or to stress or to assert a fact or something that is real, all right? Of course, the truth means something that is true, something that is not false, all right? Now, what does that refer to? When I want to search for the truth, okay, I want to know something about myself. I want to know something about God. I want to know something about the people I live with. I want to know something about people I don't live with people of the world, other people, all right? So when we talk about searching for the truth, we are discussing endless issues. Now, is the truth relative or absolute? All right. If I tell you in the middle of the summer that I am cold, all right, now I cannot be cold because it is hot. But if I say I am cold, it means that I am sick, all right? And in this case, the truth is relative. If I say I am cold, it doesn't mean I am lying, but it says that something is wrong with me and that I am not well. Now, how is the truth linked or related to perspective or point of view? Now, if I ask you to write about Akhenaten, you're going to read papers by people who like him and papers by people who do not like him. So you will have your own point of view. So in that case, you will introduce your own position, your own claim, and you will support it with evidence. Okay? So this is what we learn to do in writing. We produce a point of view, a claim, or an argument, and we support it with evidence and support. All right? And of course, we use language in order to convey this point of view. Now, this is a paragraph from a paper that I wrote about Akhenaten, about العائش في الحقيقة, and I write that he is a controversial figure. It means nobody can say that he is very good and nobody can say he is very bad, all right? So I wrote in my paper that Akhenaten is a controversial figure, and he represents a break in the tradition of ancient Egypt. What does that mean? It means that the tradition in ancient Egypt was to believe in polytheism, in many gods. But he changed this tradition and he believed in monotheism. Tai, his mother, was a commoner. Now, in ancient Egypt, generally, the mother and the father of a king are kings and queens. But in the case of Akhenaten's mother, his mother Tai was not from the royal family. She was a common woman, all right? Now, unlike other kings in ancient Egypt, he was interested in intellectual activities. He was interested in art, in literature, in culture. He was not interested in warfare, in going to war or in sports, all right? He believed in beauty and culture and religion, not military conquests and political power or domination and trade. He was not interested in money. He was an advocate. He believed in love and peace. This is perhaps why he captured the imagination of modern men of letters. This is why writers in the modern times have loved Akhenaten, and the very famous writer about ancient Egypt is called Breasted, and he said that he is the first individual in human history, meaning he had his own position and his own point of view, and that this is a shift from the god king warrior. The king in the past was a god and a warrior, to a god king poet. So he was interested in art and literature, and therefore he did not believe he is a god. Now, what did Akhenaten do? He introduced a narrator, all right? And the narrator is called Mary Moon. Now, this narrator wanted to search for the truth and wanted to find out who Akhenaten really is. So what did he do? He went to 14 different characters who lived with Akhenaten and who knew him, and he asked each of them about his point of view in Akhenaten. All right? So this is a very interesting way of writing a novel, all right? Because it tells you that writing a novel involves research, involves a lot of effort, all right? Now, Akhenaten was born lame, okay? What does lame mean? It means he was physically weak. He was not strong. Look at the picture. In his statue, he insisted that the sculptors portray him exactly as he looked. So he had a belly. And of course, warriors, fighters, do not have bellies. They're thin and they physically look nice. But he did not care that he did not look handsome, all right? So look at the difference between how beautiful Nefertiti is and how unusual Akhenaten is. So he was physically weak, but he had a vision and he had strong willpower. So, as I told you before, Mary Moon went to 14 different characters, and he told us the point of view of the different characters in order for us to read about Akhenaten from different points of view in order to have our own point of view. Now, he went to the high priest of Amun, and the high priest said Akhenaten gives him a piercing look that is in sharp contrast with his weak body. So here is someone who compared between his physical weakness and his strong spirit. Now, Hor Muhib, Akhenaten's companion, his friend since they were children, he said he had complex feelings for Akhenaten, and he said, being the heir to the throne, I had to respect him. But deep down, I despised him because of his physical weakness and the femininity that characterizes his face and body. And this shows that he had mixed feelings about him. And now we move to the following slide. Mary Moon also went to the sculptor, all right, النحات, فنان, okay? He was called Beck, and the sculptor explains that Akhenaten insisted that the carvings would convey the truth. Now, any king would have preferred that if a statue is going to be made, the statue should look beautiful. But Akhenaten insisted, as Beck said, that the statue of Akhenaten will look exactly like Akhenaten. So he was physically deformed, all right, and he wanted the statue to look the same, all right? Now, Beck also tells the reader, tells Mary Moon, that Akhenaten was against evil, he was against selfishness, and he was against greed. Now, the other character that Mary Moon talked to was Bento, Akhenaten's doctor, all right? And he says that Akhenaten had a weak body, a feeble body, all right? But he had real strength in his soul. روحه قوية جدا, and that this soul is eternal. The body will die, but it is the soul that will live forever. Now, another character is Meri Ra, the high priest of the Aten. He discovers that Akhenaten has real strength, that he hides behind his weak body, strength that neither Hor Muhib, the chief of the guards, nor Mia, the chief of the border post, possesses. Now, this is extremely important, and this is that they all agreed that he was physically weak, but he was strong in spirit and in willpower. Now, let's move now to Nefertiti, all right? She married Akhenaten. She married him when he was Amunhotep IV, and she was a very beautiful woman, and her name, she approved of her husband's new name, which is Akhenaten, which means the servant of the Aten, the servant of the sun. the one God. They ruled together from 1353 to 1336 when Akhenaten died before Christ, all right? And they had 6 daughters with speculation that they had also a son. Now, Nefertiti was a powerful woman, and her husband treated her as an equal, all right? Not like Sayyid and Amina. In several monuments, she is shown wearing the crown of a pharaoh, the crown of a king. In the National Museum in Berlin, an entire room is set aside for Nefertiti. So in Germany, she is treated like a queen. She is beautiful, she is famous, and her bust is extremely beautiful. Now, and here is a quotation from A.R. Williams. He says, "Every time something is discovered in Egypt's Valley of the Kings, the whispers begin. Is it the queen? Has she finally been found? They're asking about Nefertiti, the legendary beauty who was married to one of the ancient Egypt's strongest pharaohs. Her burial site has never been found, and its location is one of the enduring mysteries of Egyptology." Now, I will proceed to introduce you to 5 questions. And as you will notice, the questions say that the answer has to be in your own words. مش هيفيد بحاجة إن إحنا نقرأ وإن إحنا ننقل جملة من اللي إحنا قريناه ونجاوب بيها على السؤال. اللي يفيد فعلا إن إحنا نعرف نكون جملة فيها فكرة جميلة تعبر عن رأينا. Now, the first question is, why, in your own words, why is Nefertiti important? The second question, in your own words, why is Akhenaten important? Number 3, Akhenaten treated her as an equal. Why is this significant? In your own words, explain what Williams said. Question 5, should the bust of Nefertiti stay in Berlin or return to Egypt? دلوقتي الأسئلة دي تدل إن أنا مش عايزة معلومات من الفقرة فقط، أنا عايزة الطالب الباحث يشغل مخه ويفكر. مفيش حاجة في الفقرة اللي قريناها بتقول نفرتيتي التمثال بتاعها مفروض يقعد في نفرتيتي في برلين ولا لا، لكن أنا عايزانا نفكر، هل هو في برلين عامل لنا سمعة جميلة وتعتبر هي سفيرة لمصر في ألمانيا، ولا ده تمثالنا، ده تراثنا، دي ملكتنا وإحنا مفروض نرجعها مصر؟ وبالتالي أنا في الحالة دي طالبة رأيك تعبر بيه بشكل بسيط. Now, here are some of the answers for the first question. محدش مفروض يحفظ أي حاجة من دي علشان نشوف الناس كتبت أفكار بتقول فيها إيه. In your own words, why is Nefertiti important? Nefertiti is the beautiful wife of the ancient Egyptian king Akhenaten. So she's beautiful, and she's the wife of an important king, and this is why she is important. Now, she was ruling Egypt with her husband for 17 years. So she was a queen, and this is another reason why she was important. Now, she changed her religious beliefs, all right, because she was a monotheist like her husband. So she supported her husband and she believed in what he believed in. Now, he was interested in art, in the arts, and regarded Nefertiti as his equal, meaning she was his counterpart and she complemented him. Now, Nefertiti is important because she supported her husband in ruling Egypt, in reinforcing his revolutionary ideas, and in bringing up his children. Here we have a topic sentence with 3 controlling ideas. Supported her husband in ruling Egypt, reinforcing his revolutionary ideas, and bringing up their children. All right? Now, the fact that she is shown wearing the crown of a pharaoh shows that her husband respected her and he allowed her the same status that he had. Why is Akhenaten important? Akhenaten is a legend, all right? If you don't know the meaning of the word legend, please look it up. He was a remarkable king. He was an example of a ruler who treated his wife as a partner, not as a second-class citizen, all right? Now, he was a progressive king. He was revolutionary. He had a different religion, and he treated his wife as an equal. These are all good reasons why he is important. Now, Akhenaten treated her as an equal. Why is this significant? Now, Akhenaten, by doing that, he was a model. He was an example of a king who loved his wife and he respected her and he shared the responsibility of ruling Egypt with her. Now, in having her as a partner in ruling Egypt, this shows that he trusts her mind and that he believes that she has a responsibility in political matters and she can help him in taking the right decision for Egypt. Now, another possible answer: the kings of ancient Egypt were mighty, were strong, and they had absolute power. They didn't allow their wives to have similar power, but he allowed her to have similar power. So this was unusual at the time, to give women their rights and to allow them to have power and control. Now, the fourth question. Now, Williams said that Nefertiti is important and that until now, her body her mummy was not discovered. And it tells us how the mummies of ancient Egypt are important and how discovering the burial site of Nefertiti is a project that all Egyptologists have to work on. So he gave us an important piece of information that her burial site has not been discovered. And of course, if her burial site is discovered, her mummy will be discovered, her jewelry will be discovered, and maybe a lot of information about her life with her husband Akhenaten. Now, I am not going to read this slide with you, but you have the slide and I want you to read it on your own, and I want you to write something similar on your own. Now, the final question: should the bust of Nefertiti stay in Berlin or return to Egypt? Now, here we have more than one answer. And if you introduce an answer and give me a good reason, you are all right. So one of my students said, in my opinion, Nefertiti is Egyptian. She was married to a famous, powerful, and unique Egyptian king, and there is no reason her bust would remain in Germany. So this person believes that her bust, her statue, has to come back to Egypt. He says, or she says, she was an Egyptian queen and she should come back home to Egypt immediately. If she or her husband were alive, they would order the bust to come home to Egypt without delay. Now, of course, this answer is intelligent and it also has an element of humor. Now, another possible answer is Nefertiti has to return to Egypt because she constitutes an important stage in the history of Egypt and the Egyptian people, and the children of Egypt have the right to possess the bust of their queen. So here is another argument for the return of Nefertiti. The bust of Nefertiti symbolizes a revolutionary stage in the history of Egypt. Having her bust at home can and will inspire the Egyptians to find her burial ground. So here are three answers, and they all argue that Nefertiti has to come back to her home. Now, my suggestion is try to write an answer where you would argue that it's a good idea to leave Nefertiti in Berlin because she is our ambassador there, and moving her might be dangerous, and the bust or the statue can break. So if I were you, I would choose a famous Egyptian figure. I would read about him or about her, and I would write a paragraph introducing my position about this famous Egyptian person. Stay well and take care. Bye.